I love D3JS for data visualizations. I mean, who doesn't? Sometimes, though, it'd be nice to obtain an SVG without having to embed the relevant code in a website, run it in a browser, and copy-paste the result. With an npm package called D3Node, this is possible with a few limitations. For example, you cannot have interactive or animated graphics that way, and there are some other constraints pertaining to browser APIs that are absent in the Node.js environment, but we'll get to that later. We'll wrap this in a node.script and use it to render PNG files to be used in a max patch. Let's quickly glance over the Node.js source code. In the package.json file, we specify two dependencies: D3Node, responsible for wrapping the D3 library, and SVG to PNG for converting the vector format SVG to a rasterized PNG version. Our static D3.js is really minimalistic, but already provides some extension points, so let's go over it step by step. First, we read CSS styles from a file in our mounted data folder. By default, it should be called style.css, but you can change this by calling the style handler up here from the max patch. This styles text is then passed to the D3Node constructor. Next, we provide margin, width, and height parameters, which we'll use to create an SVG root node here. We then pass the D3 object, the created SVG, and an object containing options, width, height, and margin, to the main graphics generating script, which also has to be specified at runtime as the handler's parameter. Last, we render a PNG file of the specified dimensions and send the absolute path as a message to the max objects outlet. Let's look at the D3 rendering script for a moment. I basically copy-pasted this from Mike Bostock's grouped bar chart example. There is one significant difference though, which shall not be dismissed here. The client-side implementation uses D3.csv, which employs the browser's fetch API to fetch and provide the data in the CSV file. Since Node.js has no implementation of that API, we cannot use that here. You could try to polyfill that, but since the polyfills only support absolute URLs, that too was not an option. But what, in contrast to a browser, you can do is ask the file system to simply provide that CSV string with a call to read file sync and afterwards d3.csv parse. For the rest of the script, please refer to the D3 documentation. To get started, we first need to call script npm install to install the dependencies. It may take some time the first time to do this because the SVG to PNG package compiles some native code. Now it's done installing, our npm status shows green, so that should have worked. Next, we send the script start message. In the debug tool, we see that the process was indeed started. We click on D3 group chart.js, thus specifying the file name of the input script. It takes some time to render the PNG image from the actual SVG output, but here it is, painted to a video plane. I've set the erase color attribute of the scene to white because the PNG actually contains an alpha channel rendering the background transparent, so if we left the background gray, we wouldn't be able to see that much. Anyways, a convenient way to generate beautiful infographics and use them in your installation or performance or whatever on the fly. With a few tweaks, we could even go on and supply some quote-unquote real-time data.